Tonight, the CFS prepares for a hot and dry summer as fire bans come into place across the region. And the Bandolier Reservoir opened up for recreational fishing.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. The Country Fire Service is preparing for a hot and dry summer as it begins imposing fire bans across high-risk regions today. It's also delivering new trucks to stations across the state to fully equip its crews for the upcoming fire season.
In 2009, a bushfire swept through Port Lincoln, claiming a number of homes but sparing lives. Fire escape plans preventing a catastrophe. Today, the CFS is preparing locals again as the Eyre Peninsula heads towards another severe fire season.
The moisture content in the fuel that's out there is fairly low at this stage, so it's only going to get lower. And when the moisture in the ground drops as well, that's when we have the potential for hazardous conditions. As
farmers get ready for harvest, the CFS is reminding growers to have their machinery serviced and to keep firefighting equipment up to date.
The farm firefighting units are an absolute treasure for us when there is a fire, because the help that they give us is astronomical.
Successful recruitment drives have also seen Port Lincoln volunteers complete training to safely deal with worst case scenarios.
They have families that expect them to come home at night, the same as I have a family that expects me to come home at night, and we train our volunteers to the highest level, and our safety is paramount at all times.
Today's message comes as the state government delivers 10 new fire trucks to regional stations before the summer months kick in.
The trucks are changed over regularly, and we've even got to the system now where some of our older trucks are actually going back into the factory to be retrofitted with some of the safety equipment.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
The Port Augusta Council says the embattled jetty on the east side of town has taken a turn for the worse. It's urging the public to stay clear while it calls on the state government to chip in for a replacement or much-needed repair works.
Closed to the public for 3 years, the jetty, once a Port Augusta icon, is now an eyesore.
The condition of the jetty has deteriorated over many years, but in more recent times there's been a decrease in the structural integrity of the jetty even further, so we've taken additional steps to ensure public safety and barricade the jetty off, acknowledging that it's not a good look.
Council has erected temporary fencing around the deteriorating underside in the hope that the government-owned jetty will only be temporarily closed.
And a piece that is removed simply won't come back. So we've been very reluctant to push the button or to take the step in removing the jetty, because once it's gone, it's gone.
The Port Augusta Council leases the jetty from the state government, and under the lease contract, Council is responsible for repairs. But with projected costs of over $1.1 million to fix it up, Council says that's simply out of reach.
Now, we've written to the state government over 15 months ago and have yet to receive a response, despite having followed up on many occasions saying, we're in a situation where we recognise the poor state of the jetty. Something needs to be done.
In 2015, the state government pledged to fund half of the cost of repairing the jetty, $550,000. Council says it's reluctant to fund the remainder as it will only increase rates. Instead, it's urging locals to write to their local MP.
So when Council fronts up to the state government and says this is an important issue to our community, they sit there and look at us and say, really? We haven't been contacted by anybody. So it's really important that that message gets through to state government.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
A house in Broken Hill has been destroyed after fire tore through the property. Firefighters were called to the blaze around 1:30 Sunday morning to find the house fully ablaze. A neighbouring shed was damaged before crews extinguished the fire. A crime scene has been established. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Well, it's been in the works for many years, but today the Bandolier Reservoir was officially opened for recreational fishermen. It's the first SA water offline reservoir that'll allow fishing, with more set to open over summer.
Fishers can now cast their line into the Bandolier Reservoir. After years of consultation, the reservoir in the state's mid-north is now open for shore-based recreational fishers to reel in a feed.
We have stocked something like 45,000 fish, and they comprise Murray cod, golden perch, silver perch, rainbow trout, and in the last couple of months, some brown trout as well.
Recfish SA recommends bait fishing, lure fishing and fly fishing in order to catch a decent-sized fish.
Stocking occurred in March 2016, so 18 months on, these fish could be between 20 and 30 centimetres long. Quite a nice fish.
The Bandolier Reservoir is the first step in creating a number of new destinations for recreational fishing. It's hoped the next reservoir to open is Beetaloo, just west of Crystalbrook.
It'll be one of a chain of 5 reservoirs, which with the government announcing they'll have another 3 reservoirs open in the next few months.
They're going to leave dollars in our region and we get people passing through, puts us on the map, and I think it's going to be a positive for the Northern Areas Council and our region.
With fishers expected to travel from interstate, the local economy will benefit as well.
Extra tourism into this region here for B&Bs, hotels and accommodation and things like that. So I'm very, very excited to actually have this happen today.
However, in order to get a reel in the reservoir, a permit must first be purchased online. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
In the news ahead, the superchargers allowing Tesla drivers to recharge in Clare. All the details next. The Coltana training area will be abuzz with Royal Australian Regiment soldiers live-fire training exercises from Wednesday. The Department of Defence is advising residents in Port Augusta and near Coltana they may notice noise and smoke in the area. The regiment is expected to conduct small arms firing from Wednesday to Tuesday next week before it conducts high explosive firing later this month. Training activities are expected to take place each day between 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. The Port Lincoln Council has allocated 300 hectares of land for residential expansion after amending the city's development plan. The new zones will cater to housing demand for the next 15 years.
It's music to developers' ears. 5,000 new homes can now be built in Port Lincoln after the council zoned new land for potential growth.
Land use planning is always an ongoing issue, but one of the most important things council can do, and it's really important that with this development plan amendment that we've now got residential land available for future growth.
2 150-hectare zones have been opened, prized land north of Flinders Highway, east of the town centre, and another patch in the west.
Some people purchased land with the expectation that it could be subdivided. This will now give them that opportunity. Negotiations with the state government has allowed the council to amend their current plan, allowing Port Lincoln to hit 20,000 residents over the next 15 years. Really pleasing to see now that Minister Rao has approved this in the last stages of the old planning scheme. Although the town's growth has somewhat flatlined recently, the Mayor believes with major projects in the pipeline, Port Lincoln could experience a population boom. Even if we have a mini boom generated by either mining or the oil and gas in the Bight, we'll have the land ready and waiting, or the zoning ready and waiting for the demand. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, travelling to Elon Musk's big battery in Jamestown has just gotten a whole lot easier for people driving one of his famous electric cars, with the installation of 4 charging stations in Clare. They're now part of a network of superchargers around the country, allowing drivers to recharge their Teslas while travelling between tourist destinations.
The Clare Valley Motel, a place to stop and recharge your batteries. But now, for those with a Tesla, you'll be able to recharge your car's batteries too. Tesla has installed 4 new superchargers at the motel, giving drivers the opportunity to power up before hitting the highway again.
A full charge takes about 40 minutes in the supercharger. Obviously, if you haven't got an empty tank, then it doesn't take quite as long to charge.
Clare's the last stop before Jamestown. The Clare Valley Motel has seen people coming from near and far to charge up their battery before heading to the world's largest iron lithium battery.
I think there are over 100 electric cars in the area, and they were all lining up to charge.
These superchargers seem to be putting Clare on the map. Tourists are exploring the town on foot while their cars recharge.
I think it just brings people through. It's just an extra service that we can offer in the Clare Valley, something that we might have been missing or missing out on, so it's nice to get in there at the very start of it.
And the charging station is now a part of the longest electric highway in the world.
You can now drive all the way from Clare up to the north of Queensland with charging stations put in by Tesla.
The electric car industry is set to boom over the next 15 years, with more and more car companies considering making the switch to electric.
Currently, we've got about 1,000 electric vehicles in South Australia. The Australian Energy Market Operator is forecasting by about 2036 that 22% of all vehicles, or about 240,000 vehicles, will be electric vehicles.
A total of 50 superchargers for electric Tesla cars will now be installed across South Australia to cater for the high demand. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Students at Morgan Street Public School in Broken Hill have been very busy preparing for the school's centenary celebrations. Our reporter Patrick Reinke stopped by to see how rehearsals were going.
Fine-tuning their moves before a big performance. This morning, these Year 5 and 6 students practiced their dance routines ahead of Morgan Street School's 100th anniversary.
Very busy week ahead, very exciting week ahead for the centenary celebrations.
The festivities get underway on Wednesday before the hall is open to the public, full of historic photos and memorabilia. But organisers aren't expecting Mother Nature to cooperate.
We believe that the weather is not going to be kind to us on Thursday, so we've actually moved our centenary carnival from the Thursday to the Wednesday afternoon, which will begin at 5 o'clock.
The carnival will feature performances from all year levels and also the first performance of the school's anthem, which was produced by Chocolate Starfish frontman Adam Thompson.
So that's really exciting that the kids will all be able to sing and perform that.
Morgan Street School now has a new mural to celebrate the centenary, painted by Carol herself.
So it begins with the original building of the school and then just goes through the decades and sort of just shows the change of clothing that the children would have worn to school and when the Morgan Street uniform started, and just brighten up the entrance to the school.
There will also be an old-fashioned sports day held on Friday for the students and a meet and greet for former students at the Palace later that night. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Still to come on Southern Cross News, Green Thumbs put their work on show in Port Augusta. That's next. Well, Green Thumbs, young and old, have put their hard work on show in Port Augusta. The town's garden club held its biennial Rose Show over the weekend, which saw many keen participants show off their colourful cultivations.
A show of vibrant colours and beautiful scents.
Just fascinating, just looking at them, you know, nature at its best.
Avid Port Augusta gardeners put their work up against the city's best, a chance that only comes once every 2 years.
Actually, a lot of work. It's a lot of teamwork too. The women have all got to get together and plan, and yes, it's very hard to do, but I think they've done a wonderful job.
The roses were judged on their form, condition, size and presentation, and with 2 champion roses and 1 runner-up, entrant Yvonne McCurley took out the most successful exhibitor.
It's very nice to win, but I enjoy doing it, and it doesn't matter if I don't win, but yeah, I enjoy it.
Growing roses in Port Augusta's arid climate means these blooms needed extra care.
You have to water more than in Adelaide, especially because they've got rainfall, decent rainfall. We haven't.
Those with more of a passion for fashion entered in some well-dressed scarecrows instead. Entrants in the children's categories were ecstatic. Their floral arrangements took home a win.
It took me about 15 to 20 minutes because there was lots of flowers to choose from, and I chose a lot of the flowers that had my favourite colours. My favourite thing about gardening is like putting the seeds and sort of watching them grow and then picking them, I guess.
It's good for your well-being to be out in the garden. For me, anyway. I just like it.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Hundreds of locals had a very colourful start to their Sunday in Broken Hill. The town played host to a colour run. all in order to raise funds for Ronald McDonald House.
Blue, purple, green and yellow. More than 250 locals bringing some colour to Sturt Park for the Colour Run.
A lot of people that are looking like Skittles, so yeah, that's what it's all about, mate. And great weather, 22 degrees and no wind, so that's what you want when you organise events like this.
The number of people who took part nearly doubled this year. Even some of our canine friends joined in.
Yeah, we'll probably change the name of it to Colour Day next year, because I think some people actually don't turn up because they think they have to run. So, yeah, that's a learning for us. But, yeah, there's plenty of colourful dogs there today and a lot of Smurfs. Blue Smurfs around is the topic of today.
The Colour Run is the last fundraising event before a group of local riders take part in the Ronald McDonald House charity Ride for Sick Kids. One of them is Mick Stoltenberg, who's gearing up to tackle 1,000 Ks in just 7 days.
It's something that I've never done before in my life, so yeah, it's a massive test. But yeah, I'm really nervous, but I'm also really excited about having the opportunity to take part in it.
So far, over $50,000 has been raised for the cause. All funds raised will go to the Ronald McDonald House. The riders set off on their Broken Hill to Adelaide journey next month.
First day, 114 Ks out to Silverton, back to the sculptures, around town, and finish off here in town. And then day 2, we start heading to Mildura. So there, onto Renmark, onto Waikerie, onto Tanunda, Mawson's Lake, and on the Saturday we finish at Ronald McDonald House in North Adelaide.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. After the break, I'll have all your local weather details. Welcome back to the weather now. It was a very hot day across our region. A top of 35 in Port Augusta, 33 in Whyalla, 28 in Port Lincoln, 30 in Broken Hill, 33 in Port Pirie as well. On the satellite, cloud across much of Queensland and northern New South Wales is bringing areas of heavy rain and thundery showers. Scattered cloud over the tropics in another trough is causing a few storms. Cloud over the southwest with the low is causing bands of rain and showers. On the Gulf waters, northeasterly winds up to 15 to 20 knots, seas at a metre with a south-southwesterly swell. Sunrise just after 6:30, sunset at 7:33. Another warm one tomorrow, a top of 34 in Port Augusta, Whyalla, Woodner and Port Pirie, 32 in Coffin Bay, Cleve and Adelaide, 30 for Broken Hill. Looking at the week ahead, there is some relief in sight, a top of 28 with a chance of some showers in Port Lincoln on Wednesday, before dipping down to 21 and 19 by the end of the working week. A similar story in Cleve, 21 on Friday. Staying warm in Woodner though, with a top of 28 with some cloud about on Thursday. Down to 26 on Thursday in Whyalla with the chance of a shower, 30 in Port Augusta then as well, before dropping back to a nice 27 on Friday, 23 on Friday in Kadina. Dropping down to 25 by the end of the working week for Friday in Port Pirie. Clare will see the mercury dip to 25 on Thursday with some cloud around thanks to the cool change. Broken Hill could see some showers on Thursday with a top of 31 before a mostly fine day with a top of 24. And that is all the news to now. Thanks for your company. Just a reminder, you can find some of the stories we've brought to you tonight on our Facebook page tomorrow, but you can watch the whole bulletin again on our YouTube channel. Just search for Southern Cross News SA. I'll have some updates later on tonight. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.